should be like you, Mel.
Ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Cherries fans around the world, wherever you're watching Cherry AM this morning. Fantastic to have you here with us on what appears to be quite a sunny Wednesday morning. Please welcome my co-host, Sean. Welcome, Sean. How are you this morning?
Yeah, not too bad. I just woke up a little bit chilly this morning when I walked out. So, sunny.
Down on the south coast, yeah. I'm not surprised there's a bit of a chill in the air this morning. Good. Already in the comments, Darren Hurst, morning, one and all from Perth. Terry Down Under, morning, Darren. And Dan Shaw already in the chat as well. Morning, Craig and Ollie. It's actually Sean and Ollie this morning, Dan. So I imagine there'll be another comment from you in a moment. Paul, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Paul. Has anyone else become a member 99 pence a month? Brilliant offer, and hopefully it helps towards this fantastic show. Yes. So that is on YouTube, isn't it? That's the Join membership, which is 99p a month. Yeah, absolutely, Paul. We did discuss this as a show and as a channel, and anything like that goes straight towards any camera equipment, any meetings that we might have as a team. Any away days that we might try and get to together to create some footage. So yeah, by all means, if you're able to and happy to, we'd absolutely love the support, and it all goes straight back into the channel basically. So yeah, thanks for that, Paul. Malcolm, good morning, all VAR fans. Good morning, Malcolm. I think you're all right this morning, hopefully.
Or maybe pretty much so.
Yeah.
Maybe a minute.
Liam Humby, morning all, up the Cherries. Morning, Liam. Chris Hubble, morning, Ollie and Sean. Morning, Chris. There we go, Dan Shaw. Sorry, Ollie and Sean. No worries, Dan. Paul from Oz, hi guys, and good morning. We've got Matt, morning, Ollie and Sean. Hope you're both well. Morning, Matt. Yeah, hoping you're well as well. Paul from Oz says, hi, Matt. And Malcolm saying good morning. Good morning, Malcolm.
Morning.
And Matt, hi, Paul. Hope you're well. Looking forward to our Friday show. Yes, indeed. Yeah. So I'm not sure who I've got on Cherry AM tomorrow. It might be just myself. It might be a surprise guest. It might be one of the other co-hosts. We're not sure yet. And on Friday, we've got Matt and Paul from Oz again, which is fantastic. If you haven't already, please go and check out all of the other shows that have been released this week and at the weekend. I believe there was one last night, and I know that there's another one coming Friday morning for cherry picking, which is tomorrow. So do keep your eyes out for that. Paul, a bit worrying that. What's that, Paul? Let me know. Let me know what's worrying, mate. And Matt Harrison, it might be me. Cool. Might be me and Matt tomorrow, which would be a nice change. We don't usually get to do shows together. So, but Sean, we were discussing just before the show, weren't we? There isn't a crazy amount to talk about this morning. But I did want to dip into your fun fact before we go into some of my speculation transfer news, if that's okay.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research because lots of people are saying about Neto's on such high wages and all that in the club. And when I looked at the numbers and that, it seemed to suggest that Neto was like the 10th highest. He's on like 50,000 a week, but he's like 10th highest in Bournemouth squad. And then compared to other goalkeepers in the Premier League, he's like 20th. And it made me think, so he's not as high as one of the top earners as people seem to make out. So not as much wages will be available as people think, I reckon. And at the end of the day, yes, goalkeeper is unlikely to get injured. But at the end of the day, if your number one goalkeeper gets injured, then your number two is one of the most important positions, you could easily argue. So you probably got to pay a fair bit, really, for your second goalkeeper. And when I was doing a little bit of research, it showed Mark Travis was 25, 30k. Obviously, he's gone to Everton, probably on an increased pay. So he's probably 40, maybe even 50k now. And he's definitely going to be second choice. So even if Neto goes, people thinking, oh, we'll be saving money, probably wouldn't be paying far off the same amount for a second choice anyway, presuming we got someone in to replace. Yeah, we got Alex in that, which will be on massively less wages. But then Neto, as much as I think on Alex and stuff like that, Neto does have experience and all that kind of stuff, so it does come at a cost. So it's just a little point I noticed that maybe we won't have as much money available as people think if Neto does go.
Yeah, no, and I think it's a great point. During the intro, I'd kind of tried to do as much research as possible on the team's general wage bill as a whole to see how the other keepers were being paid, how the other players were being paid, and how that fared off to other people. And you're spot on, Sean, because Kepa, for example, was on 75k a week. Now, obviously, as you said, 50k a week for Neto isn't going to be a crazy amount that's freed up, but it was a legacy contract, right? So he was on that for years, and we've only just started paying these big wage bills. It would be interesting to know how much other first team and second team goalkeepers are being paid. I think that's quite.
I tried to search for a list of Premier League second choice goalkeepers, see what they're paid, but for the life of me, I couldn't find a site that would show me that. So, yeah, don't know on that. But at the end of the day, like Gary O'Neill, he came in, he done a job. Came with Jones when he come in for those few games. He scored a goal, a very important goal in that. So sometimes you just pay a ridiculous amount for a certain player. If he does the job, then that's the most important thing. And then you just look for moving on eventually, and that's what's happening. But as far as people's concerned about getting more wages or freeing up and that, I mean, even the was the Echo? I don't know, some newspaper saying that he's on big wages, and I can't remember where they're saying he's going to go. Is going to make a significant difference with his wages and that. It's not going to be so much as people expect. As far as media's pushing it, I reckon. But yeah, as I say, Neto, all his faults in that, he's done a job, and he's still a good goalkeeper. It's just we're moving to the next level, and yeah, he's not being able to move to that level as well, I reckon.
And in your opinion, is Jordi Petrovic that next level? Is that ideal?
As I said, I don't follow look at other players that well, so it's a bit hard. So I can only really go by what's been said and what I've seen in summer series and that kind of thing. And as far as I've seen in the summer series, Will Dennis, to be fair as well, has done well on that. And I know that the rumor was that Chelsea fans wanted him as number one. So that certainly sounds good. So, and I haven't seen anything in the limited I've seen him that suggests otherwise.
Fair enough. Nice. Yeah, agree with that. I'm just going to run through some of these comments first and then come back to some of this research.
Yep.
So Paul, he was going back to his other comment, worried but no rumours. We did have an offer accepted, but player did not want to come. Yeah, I'll come back to that, Paul. I've got a couple of updates on some things and bits and bobs. Darren Hurst, Sean, Neto's wage is still more than his capabilities worth. I'd agree with that. Yeah, I'd agree with that. We'll come back to that and that comparison in a moment because I've got a couple of other players' wages in front of me that I want to bring up. Paul, Chelsea now pay lower wages but very long contracts. It's true. Yeah, that's true. Dan Short, who is our top earner at the club? We'll come back to this in just a second, Dan. Paul thinks it's probably Semenyo. And Darren Hurst, Petrovic is not quite Kepa level and will only develop as more game time. I'd be inclined to agree with that, Darren. I also think he's not quite at Kepa's level yet, but I think the game time this season will put him close to being on a par. If he's playing every single game for us this season, I can't see why he's not going to get into the swing of things pretty quickly. Now, coming back to the wages, Dan Shaw asked, who is our top earner at the club? And I just want to run through the top 5 earners. Now, Sean, who do you think the top 2 are, and how much do you reckon they're on?
If I researched right, I think it was Evan Nilsson, but it didn't show Semenyo, so I reckon with the new contract, he probably is. Yeah, I would say Semenyo and Evan Nilsson probably the 2 top earners, and I think around 80,000 or something like that.
Spot on. Yeah. So Evan, not Semenyo yet. I don't know what's going to be happening. I haven't seen his new contract, so I don't know about that. His previous contract wasn't the top 2 earning. So Evan Nilsson, top weekly wage at 85. Then Justin Kluivert at 80. And then it makes its way down. Ryan Christie's on 70. Sinistera, 65. Adams and Lewis Cook, 60 each. Alex Scott, 53. Now, Semenyo's previous contract was actually only 48 a week. So I imagine that will be increasing now that he's got a longer-term contract. Zavanier, 46. Philip Billing, 54. So it's interesting.
Some interesting numbers in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
People complain about Neto and that with the wages, and then Sinistera considering his injuries and that. But at the same time, he's scored some important goals, gained a few million with his goals, and that's with our placing. So, it's just one of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul from Oz, Clive at 4.2 million a year. Yeah, pretty much. Is he worth it, Paul from Oz? What's your opinion on that? Nick Fadley, Bournemouth finish where this season? I think as a whole, Nick, if you go back and watch the tiered list show, we've agreed that it will be a 9th place finish. I think, if I remember correctly, it was 9th or 8th. But yeah, very, very hopeful for Bournemouth this season. At least a top half table finish. 8th, 9th, or 10th, I think we'll all be very happy with.
I was going 8th, but I didn't think I was going to be so reliant on the recruitment and that after seeing the summer series and that. That I knew there was issues, but I thought, for example, Snessy would step up more. I don't think he stepped up enough, and I thought Evan Nilsson would. I say if he gets the opportunities, had a few goals and that, and he hasn't. So, I still want to say 8th, but I'm certainly more reliant on the recruitment to do something than I thought I was going to be.
Would you say there's a small amount of concern drifting in, Sean, or is that not accurate?
I think because I say we easily beat Everton, West Ham, we didn't take our chances, but we certainly were the better team. So I'm not worried about relegation and that, but certainly top half finish is a bit more of a concern than I thought it would be.
Yeah, understood. I won't share my concerns with that one. I'll leave that for another episode, not on a Wednesday morning. Chris Hubble, any news on the new third away kit yet? I don't believe so. No, I think
Yeah.
Bournemouth are holding their cards to their chest this
Mm.
pre-season.
Maybe they're going to do it on, was it Saturday when they play whoever they're playing in the last friendly. Maybe they're saving it for that. Yeah, maybe they're saving it for that.
Yeah, possibly. Paul, wish we could get Cine off the books. He's a great player, but always injured. Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing that Sean sprang up this morning because I, for one, definitely didn't realise that all the players were being paid this much. That wasn't, and what I also didn't realise is some of the stats. So the total annual wage bill is 57.9 million, which is a reasonable amount of money. And the estimated weekly payroll is 1.1 million a week.
I think we need to get the buckets out again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or at least start trimming the fat a little bit. And as Paul said, get Sinisterra off the books. That's a good shout, I would say. Who else in there? I mean, if Philip Billings on 54k, depending on if he stays for the season, there could be some definite mix-ups here. But yeah, I think it's a crazy amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, you always want
AFC Bournemouth, you know.
And so you always want your top earners to be on the first team. So I'm trying to think with those top earners. I say Zab's played the most minutes, so he should be one of the highest on there. Kluivert, he's one of the top ones, but he was in and out on the squad, so he should be lower. Sinistera on the top, but he never played. So yeah, there's a few people that you'd like to switch around, but when you sign those contracts and stuff, you don't know how many minutes they'll play for certain on that. You just do it on what you hope, basically, and sometimes it can bite you in the future, and sometimes you actually do the opposite way around. So, yeah,
Exactly.
That's why it's always interesting when you look at the numbers and you think, oh, God, how's he getting paid that much? Or, oh, we got a bit of a bargain there.
And I'm in that sense, I'm really hoping Evan Nilsson exceeds this season. You know, being a star signing at 40 million and then paying him 85k a week. You know, he needs to be performing this season. Otherwise, you know, we're going to have to look to get someone else in that can slot it away every game. It needs to be a goal scorer, and that's the reason we've spent money on him. So, fingers crossed, he continues to perform like he did at the start of last season when he came over, which was he had a pretty good spell, and he definitely scored some goals that were needed. But yeah, I'm hoping to see a bigger performance from him this season for sure. Darren Hurst, do you think Senesi is a bit more cautious after his injury? Does affect different players in different ways? Yes, he probably is generally more cautious. I think you're right. Football players are more cautious when they come back from injury, especially when they're more injury prone. You know, we've seen it hundreds of times. Senesi, I think he just needs to be. You can't be cautious when you're trying to battle for a position. You have to put it all on the line, right? And it's time for Senesi to do that, really.
I think with a previous show I said about Semenyo, and I kind of disregarded the injury side of him so much because he's played so many minutes still, and the injuries he had was very minor. But if I remember reading in that, so I think I don't know whether it's because he was getting talked about higher clubs and that put him off a bit, or I don't know what's going on with him and that. But as for Senesi, I think the injury and him being out of the squad for so long, I think that's what's affected him a lot more. But yeah, Semenyo for me, I don't think you can say injury, but I did say that he looked a bit more cautious in the second half of the season.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that. I'm just trying to look here for one of the comments, which is a good one. Hang on, let me just get through this one. Paul from Oz, Kluivert's transfer value, according to Google, 35 mil. I think he got a good deal, if you know what I mean, but all good to me. Great asset. Yeah, Kluivert was a fantastic deal at the time, and I think he came over to Bournemouth maybe a tad early. I think he could have done another season where he was. However, I think it's fantastic that he came over, and I think he's loving it being at Bournemouth. That's why we tend to keep players like this, like Semenyo. He wants to stay at a club like Bournemouth. So, yeah, it's nice to see. Dan Shaw, do we get any money from Kiefer Moore's transfer to Wrexham?
I was glad when I saw that transfer. I try to keep an eye out for Wrexham. I always any team that can upset and move into their Premier League, if they can do it in that. I don't like the same teams keep going up. I like new teams going up and mix it all up.
Yeah, completely agree. And in answer to your question, after a quick search, I don't believe we do get anything from the move for Kiefer Moore.
He's been away from us for a while now, so
yeah. 3-year contract after departing Sheffield United, and it's for a £2 million fee. But I agree in everything you've just said, Sean. A club like Wrexham, Wrexham's only 40 minutes down the road from me now, so technically my local club to watch, which is cool. But as a whole, what Wrexham are building and the vision that they're building and the community that they're building and the academy and everything that they're doing is exciting to watch. It's exciting to almost be a part of. And you've got the Wrexham series on Disney, which is fantastic too. But yeah, it is, as a football fan, it's really exciting to watch a team grow like that. And take on all of these players. I'm pretty sure they've just signed an Ipswich player, and they took on a Sunderland player at the end of last season. It's really cool to watch. And if we have to play them at some point, that'd be fantastic. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, so I think they're on their third record signing. They've only just bought the Rock something ground or stadium, wherever it is, for the ladies. So the ladies have got their own ground now. So yeah, certainly moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan Shaw, does it ever get goal bonuses? Not sure, Dan. Not sure.
I'd be surprised if he doesn't. I'd be surprised most strikers these days don't get goal bonuses.
Exactly. Yeah. Matt, can't judge everything on the summer series and pre-season. Agreed. Evan Nilsson will come good, and with game time, I'm sure all will hit top form. Trust the process and wait for the deals to come. Agreed. Yeah,
he did score at Hibs, I believe, against the Hibs game. I believe Evan Nilsson scored, if I remember reading right.
I think he did. Yeah. And even still, yeah, Matt's right. Pre-season and summer series, it's not the Prem. It's not the time that people are playing properly and giving full 100% effort. They've obviously been given different instructions to try different tactics, different strategies, different formation, different roles, testing depth in different places. So pre-season games are never going to go as planned, right? So yeah, I agree with you, Matt. Darren, Evan Nilsson can put away some amazing goals given the service. Dango and Adrian Traffer could give him that from the left. Evan will do the rest. Yeah, look forward to that, Darren. Fingers crossed you're spot on with that sum up. Matt, I'll be very surprised if we don't add to our squad in defence before the end of the window. Yes, Matt, I was waiting for a comment like this. So what I want to do is just give you a quick rundown, because there is two players that are being spoken about at the moment. We have discussed one of them. One of them is Loic Bade, which we've spoken about before. A centre-back from Sevilla, 30 million. Sunderland and Bournemouth were both interested. It looks like he's rejected the Bournemouth offer at the moment, just to keep everyone up to date. And he's also being looked at by Bayern Leverkusen. The other one that's of interest is Coney De Winter, Inter Milan's defender at centre-back at 25 mil. Also Belgium international, and Spurs and Palace are also looking into him as well. So yeah, Matt, there is definitely some things on the horizon. There is still transfer news going around. There are still things that I think we're going to recruit for. So let's wait and see for that one. Paul, trouble with our recruitment so far. Our replacements, no signings to strengthen. Yeah, watch this space, Paul. I agree with Matt. I think things will be happening, mate. And Matt, Darren from Oz, spot Evan Nilsson hasn't had the service during summer series, but did all the hard work off the ball. He needs to be provided chances to score. Interesting. Did you watch the summer series, Sean?
So, yeah, I watched all the summer series and that, and to be honest, I would say completely the opposite comment. There were some gilt-edged chances that, say, especially Dango was crossing in and that I say Evan Nilsson as being a striker, and he was in the right kind of positions there, but he just didn't finish them. So, especially in the summer series, is what I watched. I would say the opposite way around. He did have the service, but he didn't take it. I mean, he hit the post and that. Obviously, we're going to carry on hitting the post like last season, do the record on that. But yeah, I thought he had the opportunities, but he wasn't taking them. That's especially in the West Ham game. I think that was our biggest issue. We didn't take the chances because we did make chances, certainly.
Yeah, understood. Yeah. Interesting that there's two thought processes there. That's why I love this show. Difference in opinions. Malcolm. Matt, totally agree with you. Only 3 games in the summer series. No way to judge a player's form. Yeah, agreed. It's definitely a place for players to stand out, and it's definitely a place for academy players, bench players, or not first team players to have their chance at showing something. Did we have any of those, Sean? I know Traore stood out a little bit for some people.
Yeah, I mean, it shows. I could argue in some ways. I think we've got a stronger squad than we have last season currently. Just because obviously Traore, as far as I've seen him, I think he easily fits the Kirkes boots. Obviously, it's some serious, but still, what I've seen. Goalkeepers, certainly, I don't see you going weak in there. The biggest thing is obviously Dino going, but I think Hill was one of the standouts. So I think I'm confident with that. And then we've got players that last season, Traore, the Portugal one?
El Krupi or
Krupi and that. Yeah, so obviously they was on loan last season, so they weren't around. So we've got them in now, and Traore, I think, especially done very well. So we've got a few players in that we didn't have last season as well. So in some ways, you could say we've got a slightly stronger squad than last season currently, because we've got a bit more depth because the ones that were on loan have come in. And you say Jebson's gone on loan, but you say Krupe's come in, which is probably an upgrade and stuff. So yeah, it's
it's a good sum up. I think Malcolm and Matt are right. It's hard to judge on pre-season and out of season friendlies and things like that, but you're 100% right. For me, James Hill will stand out and has earned at least a couple of first place starts in the squad this season for sure. Traore, don't think we should be getting rid of him. I think he should also be someone that we exercise and continue to lean on and use in certain games. I think he'd be a fantastic sub, specifically if we're 2-1 down, 2-2 second half, 60, 70 minutes to get some explosive pace onto the pitch. I think it'd be fantastic to keep on our team. But
I mean, with the injuries and stuff, if Christie's still injured, I say Traore was one that was going to be sold or loaned for me. But given the injuries, I say with Christie and and Lewis Cook being on suspension anyway, regardless, and Clivert, I say he might be okay, but we haven't heard anything about him and stuff like that. The Traore for me, if I had to say right now with what we currently got, might actually end up being a starter for me. So, which I never saw that, but a fair due to him. He done so well. I think he's deserved that chance.
Yeah, and that would be awesome to see. That would be fantastic to see.
That would be like a new signing, basically. So,
yeah, it would, wouldn't it? Just Dan, off to play football down Winton Rec today. Nice I used to play football at Winton Rec, religiously. Good on you, Dan. I grew up playing at Winton Rec. Hope you have a great time and play well. Paul from Oz, nice. Darren Hurst, 16 shots on goal, 15 corners, and still losing 2-0 to West Ham was nothing. The base our strikers' performance on, in my opinion, was nothing to base our strikers' performance on, in my opinion. Yeah, I think West Ham was an interesting game. There was definitely shots and attempts that should have been put away for sure. I think we lacked in certain aspects of the pitch. But again, pre-season, right? And I'm not going to be too harsh on them. And I'm going to wait for the performance on the 15th of August against Liverpool. That, to me, will sum up how we go into this season. Although it's due to be an incredibly difficult game.
To me, that comment kind of is what to base the things. When I done the Semenyo versus Dango debate and that, I said that Semenyo has so many chances, and I say I could be in front of a goal, and I could try to do 1,000 shots. If I miss 999 of them, there is some stats, there is some reasoning behind that. And when you see stats like 16 shots, 15 corners, you've got to be critical of the striker force or the players up front at least anyway. So, and we saw that a lot last season. So it is a concern, but I say we got Krupe in that. So, and Evan Olsen was a slow starter. Maybe he's a bit of a slow starter again, but certainly when he started to get going, he started to get more of a goal threat and stuff like that. So hopefully he can kick in a bit quicker this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And Paul from Odds, Brooksy seemed fitter already than last year. Played so well in the competition. Yeah, I agree with that. Brooksy was...
he's actually moved into my starter place now. It's controversial, but I've actually put him over Semenyo now. So Brooks starts.
Yeah, interesting. Paul, I think we'll know more on Sunday who is staying or going. Yeah, we will indeed. Don't worry, Paul. No, more predictive text. That's fine. And Darren, Brooks was sharp and on another level from last season. Yeah, there's definitely some standout players that I'm excited to see. And as a couple of people have mentioned, we'll find out more on our last friendly against Real Sociedad. And then we are currently 13 days? No, 9 days. 9 days away from the start of the Premier League, Sean. Are you as excited as I am?
Oh, very excited. I can't wait for it to start. I've been missing football so much in there. But we get the fun of Wrexham hopefully beating Southampton on Saturday, though, first as well.
Oh, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? That would be good news. Yeah.
I say we get a good pre-season friendly score, and then the Wrexham Southampton game I believe is 12:30 kickoff. So see Wrexham beat Southampton and then get a good pre-season game behind us. That'll be a good Saturday.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Saturday, 9th of August, 12:30. Southampton are at home to Wrexham. Fantastic. That'd be awesome. What an exciting game. Thanks for staying on board with that, Sean. We'll say our goodbyes. I really appreciate you joining me this morning for the show.
No worries.
Interesting topics that have come out that for once weren't planned. So it's nice how it's gone backwards and forwards. Again, appreciate everyone joining us in the chat this morning. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, put the bell on for notifications, all of those things that Craig and Matt ask you to do all the time. Thank you again for joining us. Sean, I hope you have a fantastic day as always. And I will see everyone for another Cherry AM tomorrow. Bye for now.
Up the cherries.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
I should be like you, Mel.